Good afternoon, it's me again. Today I just wanted to make a quick video about the English language. Now this video is going to be part of a language series that I want to start that will concern the English language for about 2 or 3 videos. And that's just because I found that it's the best place to start because it is my native language and I do have a few thoughts and ideas about it. As you've looked from the title of the video, this video is called Why Learning English is Hard. Now, I've had some discussions with my professors at the university and other students who attend the school, and I'm always curious to know what it's like to learn English, because I know what it's like on the other side to be an English speaker and to learn different foreign languages like French and Italian and German and Dutch. But I wanted to discover what it was like to learn my native tongue, English. Now you have to point out that language difficulty is subjective, right? You can't say that a language is difficult in relation to other languages because there are so many different factors. For example, for somebody who speaks maybe Greek, learning English might be hard because it's a different alphabet. Same with speakers of Russian or Arabic or Mandarin. If you don't know the Latin alphabet, I assume that learning English would be a little bit harder than if you spoke a language like French or Spanish. So I'm just going to come up with some examples of some difficulties that language learners might come up against when they're learning the English language. I'm just going to start off with a little history of the English language to give some insight as to why English is the way it is today. In the Norman Conquest of 1066, French became the official language of the British Isles. English was re-established in Britain in about 1350, but the French spellings of the French words remained the same, such as the words for center and root. During the 16th and 17th centuries, English began to loan words from other languages, such as Latin and Greek, which is why we have such spelling inconsistencies today. Even if you've watched the news lately, they add new words to the English language constantly. For example, they just added OMG and LOL to the Webster English Dictionary. Now first I want to look at English spelling. I've posted some words on the screen that show the different inconsistencies in spelling. On the left we have a basic phonetic rule that English has that says if you have a vowel, consonant, vowel combination, the first vowel is stretched out by the vowel on the other side of the consonant. That is to say, you would have a long O, a long A, or another long O. But as we can see, that is not always the case. In the first example, we have move, which is phonetically pronounced properly, and love. Notice the difference between the way we pronounce the O. We can also see that in bone and done. We have completely different phonetic sounds for the same one vowel in the same circumstance. In all 4 of those words, we have a vowel, which is the O, a consonant, and the E on the other side. This rule is supposed to also apply for A's. If we look at save, it follows the rule. We have a long A sound before the V and the E that stretches it out. But if we look at have, we have a short A sound. On the right side, we can also see how vowel combinations are pronounced inconsistently. We have blood and book. 2 completely different sounds for one vowel combination, the double O. Now, what I'm trying to get across is that as somebody who didn't know how to speak English, if you were trying to pick up on a pattern to pronounce these words, you wouldn't be able to find one. It's completely unpredictable depending on the circumstance. You would have to memorize the irregularities. English is also famous for having a bunch of letters that you never pronounce. For example, there's no W in answer, there's no B in dumb, we don't pronounce the C of muscle, we don't pronounce the K in knife, nor do we pronounce the W in right. Now if you were somebody who was trying to learn the English language and had no idea that we didn't pronounce these letters, you would come off saying muscles, knife, and dumb. The English language also has a lot of inconsistencies in their morphology rules. For example, if we look at 2 words at the top of the slide, awesome and awful, we know that they're polar opposites. However, if you look at it morphologically, they mean the same thing. The second word, awful, which means actually terrible, can be broken down morphologically into the meaning of full of awe, which should mean amazing, but it doesn't. And if we look at the pluralities of words, we can see that man becomes men. So how come the plural of ban isn't ben? And also, if we look at goose, it becomes geese. Now why don't we transform moose into meese? With all these circumstances, we can see why it would be hard for a foreign language learner to learn English. So that's my little video on why I think learning the English language might be hard. Now, I've done a lot of criticizing of the English language, but I think there are a couple perks that learning English does have. We don't have any genders, like many Romance languages, which have 2, or other Germanic languages like German, which have 3 genders. We don't have any cases anymore. We do, it's a little less extensive than, let's say, German or Finnish, and we don't have any tones. English is very monotonous. It doesn't have the tones that other languages like Cantonese or Mandarin might have. So now I have a question for you guys. As somebody who speaks English, what are some things that you've pointed out about your own language that maybe I haven't pointed out? Or as a foreign language learner who learned English as a second or third language, what other things did you notice about English that presented some sort of difficulty for you? Leave a comment below or send me a video response.